Well, I'll monitor the chat.
Fantastic. All right, Gretchen, your show, girl.
Okay. I don't know if you guys can maybe just try and unmute yourselves individually and then you can talk, because it does say that the first 50 people should be able to talk, but you never know.
This is Shane. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yes, I can hear you, Shane.
Yeah. Feel free to unmute yourself. We want this to be and for everyone. So
Yes. But if you want to post your question in the chat, I'll relay them to everyone. So.
Awesome.
Yep. Now I went too fast. Oh, is it Monday? Oh. Okay. Okay.
It does not want to show that first slide.
I know, it really doesn't. We just wanted to kind of get your take, and I don't know how many people were there in person versus doing it virtually, but get your take on some of the hot topics. And definitely the AI seemed to be featured heavily everywhere. And product analytics, of course, was a big announcement. And then customer journey, you know, can just regular analytics get some love?
I know.
Oh, too funny. No. But I really did like that product analytics. That was, I think that made the biggest buzz. But I think it was pretty cool how if you're using CJA, like it's just built on top of it. So I thought it was interesting that you could already use your data. It's not like a new way to collect data. They were just introducing new ways to visualize your data. So that made, as a person that does implementation, I was like, oh, that's pretty slick that you're already using the data that's being collected.
Yeah. So I went to the summit and it seemed like everything was around the AI and CJA. Like all the ones that talked about analytics when I was in there, they were talking about AEP and CJA. So it looked like, you know, they're making a lot of headway into that. But I was wondering, it's like, can we get some Adobe analytics?
Yeah, that data dictionary, that was something that everybody got. So that, at least there's that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, too fun. Eric or Josh, Lori, Valerie, Zeke, are you guys planning on moving, or maybe you already are, like using CJA, or are you guys thinking about it, flirting with it?
So I work with an agency with a number of different clients, and I've heard inklings that we may have a few different clients that'll use CJA, which is exciting because it looks like it's really got some great features and some great things to play with. So.
Very cool. Yeah, I do feel like more and more of it's getting built out. Like even like with Web SDK, like, you know, that's kind of like the way to get the data, you know, there to the edge. That there's hardly anything anymore. I feel like that's like not like out of scope. You know, before you could always go to that like GitHub page and they would list like what's supported. I feel like they've really made lots of great progress on that.
So Shane has a question. Does CJA replace Adobe Analytics? For me, I think no, but I think that's the direction they're wanting to go in more. And Lori, welcome. Her comment is more, I'm new to Adobe Analytics and trying to learn. So this is a great place to learn, ask questions, very friendly area. So.
Lori, are you coming from like Google Analytics or like Amplitude, or are you just new to analytics in general? Oh, new to analytics? Oh, awesome!
Oh, welcome, Lori.
Welcome to the fun. Oh, did we lose Gretchen? Nope, there she is. Okay. Awesome. Okay, cool.
This is the sneaks. I don't know if anyone had a favorite sneak or anything they're particularly excited about.
I think this was one of my most favorite sneaks from the host. Like I think
Yes. Eric killed it.
What was the other girl's name?
Tig and Taro.
I feel like those two together just were the funniest ones I've seen since maybe like Eric's Steal and Shoot. And that's going like way far back. So, no. Though I do always feel bad for those comedians because I'm like, man, like they're just getting thrown into like something that's totally not like, you know, very technical, probably out of their typical day in and day out activities. But she was good. Hopefully they get that other platform. It was so funny that one station just never worked, and so God bless all those people that had to present over there. They really rolled with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Valeria, hopefully I pronounced your name correct. Her comment is using AA for years, just want to understand what's available in Adobe tools like Journey. So I assume that's CJA. I also recently ran across the Journey. Is it Journey optimizer? CJO, but I think that's more on the email side.
Oh yeah, there's that CJ customer journey like optimization or optimizer.
Yes.
Yeah, where you can really coordinate. I think they use the word orchestrate, which always makes me think of an orchestra. But you can orchestrate like stuff going out. Yep. Oh, that's
Yeah.
very cool. Well, of course, I'm analytics, so I'm going to say like the side by side because that was the analytics one. But let's see. True Colors was pretty cool. Like picking your tone. But which one did you hashtag and vote for when you were there, Luke?
I think I like the pathwise.
Yeah.
Because it's always like, hey, what's the expected journey? No, this is in how they're doing it, you know, in the especially with conversions, and so that's a way of using AI to determine, you know, the conversion rate. You know, it's like, hey, more doing more predictive. So it seems like I've been to quite a few conferences, summits, and it seems like they're getting better and better at the AI. So
I agree. That pathwise, I almost felt like I'm like, oh my gosh, like you don't even have to wait to see how well, you know. You know, usually you're like, okay, make sure the dashboard's set up and you're looking hour one, and here you're just like, yeah, this is how it's gonna pan out. So yeah, that'll be
also. I do like the project side by side, especially with the CJA. I mean, because I get in the Adobe projects, the analytics workspace projects, just trying to get everyone involved in it. I think that's great, especially when we're talking about the omni-channel, multi-channel, where a lot of the conversions don't happen, you know, online, you know, happen offline through the phone, through other things. So,
you know, makes it feel very like, I think people are accustomed to it too, like with Google Sheets, you know, you're all, everybody's in there at the same time and you can see what's going on. So that's pretty cool that you can, and all those boards that I really am bad at, like Miro and stuff like that. All those that I am like, oh, this is over. I try not to mess it up when I'm in them, but yes, I think that is kind of what people are expecting, to have that level of collaboration. So that was very cool. I agree.
Yep.
Thanks, Gretchen.
And then the always popular Adobe Rockstars tips and tricks.
This
This year there were three.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite sessions. Actually, I got the T-shirt, but I should have wore it today.
Yeah, you should have worn it. I don't
I forgot
look
about
like
it.
they don't have virtually
Yeah.
so I missed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. That's
Actually,
always
for
one of
like
the most
Jen's comments, yeah, for Jen, the smarter alerts. So I actually changed some of my alerts because of that. Because let's say, for example, I'm always looking for when the page views or visit is 0, but I think when the alert happens, the data hasn't caught up yet. So lots of times I get false positives. At the very first time I got them, it's like it's like, what happened? But then check later, oh, data's there. So her thing about the smart alerts is using ratios, using like page views per visit. So you have to figure out what works for you. And I implemented it, and I got far less alerts. So I just need to play around with what is the low threshold for that. So
instead of, is that in addition to using like anomaly detection, or was it?
yeah, so this is just using the alerts, but using ratios instead of the actual metric itself. So
yeah, and then also, putting on like time segments on top of it, so you're not getting alerts at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning where potentially you have super low traffic or something like that. It's okay if you don't have something like that. And then even she mentioned potentially if you have an onshore and offshore teams, having 2 types of alert timings, one for offshore and one for onshore, so they get their alerts, during working hours instead of middle of the night too, which I thought was a good tip as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. So then on that ratio, like on your page views per visit, are you still like looking for 0? Like
Yes. So like the one I just implemented, what I thought was fairly low threshold of 5 page views per visit. Actually, there was 2 alerts that went off. It was like 4.8, 4.9. So I just had to play around with it. Before I would get like 6 a day.
Oh, okay.
Where it shows page views being 0. So.
Oh, I like that.
Yep. Oh, Valeria, so we do record all of our sessions and they'll be available on YouTube afterwards. So you can always catch us there.
Yep, because we're YouTube stars.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'll have to go back and look. Because I wasn't able to attend in person, so but this is on my list. I'm like working my way through here. But visit scoring, that sounds interesting. What did Victoria talk about with that? Is that kind of like engagement scoring, but at a visit level, or do you guys happen to remember that one?
Yeah, I don't quite remember that one, but
I do think it was like the engagement scoring like we did at Hallmark Center.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Tom, estimated conversions trying to beat out AI, huh?
Yeah, well, and he's got a real tricky problem. He works for the airline industry, so when kind of like when we were at Block, when people set an appointment, like we were tracking the date they set the appointment and not the date the appointment was for. So this was kind of it for when the flight was booked and when the flight actually was. So you're spreading out your revenue. So your revenue can show up in the right month.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So I was like, Yeah, he had a couple clever things around that.
Ew. Well, now that's going to get bumped up. I had a couple others in front of it, but that sounds really cool. Richard, Shane, when are you guys going to put in a tip? We want to be talking about your tips next year. Then we can just have you on mute and you can tell us your tips
so
again.
Evie asked, who was that from the airline? So that was Tom.
Tom, yeah.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, try to say that last name.
Yeah, Tom P.
Yeah, Tom P. So.
Tom Pike Kutowski.
I'll look at
Yeah.
you.
Hey.
So Shane asks, is tips and trips available on demand?
Yes, it is, because I watched it on demand. All of this is, I think, available on demand. So if you were there in person and didn't see it, see everything, you can go see anything you want. And if you weren't able to go, and even if you didn't already register, you can register still and then watch all the sessions online. So yes,
Yep.
I haven't gone through my list of sessions to watch either that I wanted to.
Awesome. Ooh.
And
That's
then
interesting because it looked like you weren't able to watch, if you register beforehand, because I was just planning to do virtual, and then I realized that there wasn't much available.
Yeah,
live
you
at the
couldn't watch
time.
it like real time, but like
you
you
can
could
now.
the last previous years, yes, but you can now.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, I had mixed emotions about not being there.
So there's heard from a lot of people, they chose not to go because the sessions are available online afterwards. So
For free.
Yeah, for free versus the costs. And for me, I like going in person because it's the one chance to get out for me. So meet old colleagues, it's like, oh yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like fun, but
to me, it seemed much smaller than in the years past. But then again, this is the first summit after COVID.
Yeah, I agree with Richard. It did seem like a bait and switch on the sessions and available remote, because I was like, oh, we got spoiled the last few years, or the last couple of years. I really like how they've done that, but this they've gone back to. But at least they were available online relatively quickly. Sometimes I know, like before COVID, you had to wait like a month or so before the sessions were available, but they're all out there right now.
Then you lost interest.
Then you forgot, and then you're like,
yeah, it's that old recency.
But I think you could even, like, they were there like the next day, I think, even.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I think they were, because I think I watched a couple, like, while it was happening, more than just, I mean, streaming like the main sessions, which they did. You could do live.
Yeah.
And Too Hot for the Main Stage, this is always another one of my favorites. This is very, Adobe Analytics centric, which is nice because those are getting harder and harder to find. So the Dialogue Defender, which was real-time collaboration notes, in your workspaces, was the winner. I kind of like the Quantum Conjurer. It's my personal favorite, but that didn't get very many votes. But not everybody likes SQL. I do.
And this one I haven't had a chance either, but are all of these features, or are they more like sneaks where not all
They're more like sneaks.
Okay.
But
specific for analytics.
Over the years, this is a regular session that they have, and over the years, a lot of they get more than one of these generally worked into the product. So
awesome.
Yeah, Gretchen, I agree with you. Well, about the SQL against Adobe Dimensions, I'm like, that's the whole reason I like Adobe. I don't have to write SQL code.
I love it. So how did Dialogue Defender, that collaboration and communication, how is it similar or different than the side-by-side that was?
I think it's the same thing.
Is it the same thing? Okay.
Yeah. It's just a different, they just had a...
It's Captain Marvelous name is Dialogue Defender. It's a main stage name is Side by Side. I guess everybody needs a stage name at Vegas, so.
Yes.
Now, Luke, weren't we talking about that full table export earlier? Is that?
So we were talking about the flat view table.
Oh, the flat view. Okay.
So the flat view is basically you can set up the dimensions as columns. So because right now within Workspace, you only essentially can only have one column, and
Yeah.
you break things down. And that's one nice thing about Report Builder is you can actually have columns. So so yeah, and then you can have other metrics. So to me, I'm really looking forward to that feature coming out. The other feature that I thought was interesting was the data dictionary, but it gives you more information, but still not to the degree that I want. But yes, I agree. I'm really looking forward to that flat view table coming out, because even doing something as simple as just give me two dimensions as columns. So
where did you hear about, since I got that confused, where did you hear about flat view at versus this full table export? Was that a different session, or maybe
I think it was a different session. So the session I
Okay.
went to was called the Final Four.
The final four?
That's-
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh,
Oh, really?
All right, I
Sorry.
won't. Awesome.
Bloody-
No,
I
okay,
have
I'll make
slides.
one
I
last
should
year.
know. So Josh, I think you can have up to 5 dimensions, and then I think that's going to be in analytics.
So then, right before we leave, what was the full table export then? How's that different than I can download 50,000 CSV, files right now?
Oh, you can download more than 50,000.
Yes.
Oh, that should be illegal, but okay, we'll move on. Good move on then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes. So this was I think the Final Four, the very basketball themed
Yep.
one, since it happened during the tournament. So this is recently released, and kind of there's that flat view. It's a sneak peek.
Yep. Hey, Caroline, thank you for attending. We'll have the rest of the session on YouTube, but have a great day.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I see what they did. That's fun. See you, Richard.
Yep. Richard, thanks for attending.
I like it how they have settings, utilities, visualizations, and sneak peek.
Yeah.
I love how they grouped them in there.
Yeah, so I really like the flat view and the targets in Workspace. So.
Oh, tell me more about targets, because I know like they've kind of had targets way back in the day, but it was kind of like a flat line or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, so this is actually putting actual targets in analytics, if I remember right. But I like the flat view more. So I voted for the flat view, and I wanted that to win, but it didn't. So.
Oh no.
I don't remember which one won. But
yeah.
Oh, public links, the top right, is that not having to have a login to see stuff? Is that
Yes.
Yes.
You know, that one. What? Oh,
These-
EV. Yeah, go for it, Luke. Do you see EVs?
These are all peaks, right? Like, so there's nothing that's confirmed on the roadmap yet. Is that correct?
I think some of these are out. Some of these should be out here. Yeah.
Data Dictionary is already out because whenever they did a maintenance release, unfortunately it happens, but there was access issues. So that one has been released.
Combo charts, that's in the mobile visualization, isn't it already?
The what?
The combo charts, is that in?
Yeah, that's already there. I'm looking for more things they can do with combo charts. For EB, he had a question.
Yeah.
What is the trick to download beyond the 50,000? So they don't have that quite yet, but I think that's what.
That's on the potential roadmap.
Yes,
That was
potential
called that
roadmap.
full table export.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what session was that in? I forget.
Yeah. Sometimes I just have to pull data warehouse. I wish I could just do everything in there, but like, it depends on your company. Certain companies' email does not like having zip files sent to you. So
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, I feel like on those visualizations, like that key metric summary and combo charts, I feel like they were playing stuff that was already released in the mobile scorecard.
Yeah.
EB, yes,
I haven't
agree.
seen
Data
it
warehouse feels like from 1977.
So true. Like I was like, when you're missing the old school UI, just go like into
Yes.
that or the admin, the admin piece of Adobe
Yes.
Analytics, and you can reminisce.
Yeah, I hope flat table might replace data warehouse because, and the thing with data warehouse is like, you don't know till the next day that you totally screwed up your request, And I'm like,
Mhm. Yes, 3 days later. Yes.
Yes, it's very frustrating. Very frustrating. So,
Well, thanks for joining, EB.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to the flat view table. So
oh, and but if you had the Conjurer where you could SQL, you wouldn't even, you could, do that too. It's the same thing. So I know, I like SQL.
I've been avoiding SQL.
I know. I hate
But I
regex,
know
if
I
that
need
makes
to.
me feel better.
I believe I saw has. Yes, Josh, I think you're correct. CJA, his question was saw that CJ has or will have SQL style interface to get to the real good use.
Yeah, I think that is that Quantum Conjurer. So hopefully that'll be
Yep.
in analytics too. But we wanted to know what anybody have anything good that they learned at Summit about anything or what,
It's all about CJA, I feel like.
or SDK. Sarah learned some stuff about SDK.
Yeah, there was two. So I'd like to talk about all the ones I haven't watched, but the two that I have watched, the 10 tips to get started with Edge data collection, and then migrate to Web SDK for modern data collection. Both of those classes were done by Adobe folks, and that second one by Doug Moore and Daniel Wright, who those are like names that you definitely recognize. But those two were really great. I think that first one, the 10 tips to get started with Edge data collection, it was Laura and Jim, two people from Adobe, and they did a really good job of not being too high level, like kind of high level, but deep enough that I felt like it wasn't a sales pitch. So I would definitely say listen to that one first because they do a great job of making you feel like, oh, yes, I understand it, but it's not like super technical. And then go listen to Doug and Daniel because you do, if you like super technical, I mean, they're not super duper technical, but then it goes a little bit deeper. So you'll have a little bit of overlap. So Doug and Daniel will repeat a few things, which is great because then, that's how you're supposed to learn stuff, right? Like have it repeated to you a couple times. But then they go a little bit deeper. And so I feel like those two do a really great job to talk about specifically the web SDK portion of that the whole new kind of environment that's happening. So yeah, I know Shane, Daniel, right? Like we've had that. You guys have had that opportunity to work with him before, and he's just a really great guy. And oh my gosh, he said a couple of really.
He's so smart.
Yeah, and he had some really bad dad jokes that he pulled out in that presentation. So you learn, you laugh, and then it was a good one. So and then you feel a little bit less like I don't know. You feel a little bit more one with the new environment and the where Adobe's going because I know I think we're all used to our Adobe Analytics and it's hard to give it up. But these two courses made at least the Web SDK piece a little bit more personable. And I'm like, oh, wow, maybe I do like you after all, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Hey, Luke, did they have labs this year? That's
I
something
think they did,
had
but I didn't attend any of them. So
okay, I wasn't quite sure about that since I know that's just something. Oh, Zeke confirms that there were labs. Zeke, did you go to any labs?
Yeah.
Did anyone go to any labs? Sarah loves labs.
I do love the labs. I think I still get this alert because on one of the labs, this was years ago, we made an app. And so I think we all had to get like Amazon developer rights. And so we did it. And I still get emails about that.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
that's what Sarah does too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you
It's
gotta get
all
the
labs.
labs up when you go in person since they're not recorded. Totally. Oh.
So
So Josh, with you saying like potentially CJA stuff in your future, did you go to, if you went in person, or have you listened, if you're like us and are listening afterwards, to anything with CJA? And if so, which was your favorite?
So looked a little bit at it, but my wife and I are buying a house right now, and so it's been kind of busy. So haven't had much of
Congrats.
an opportunity. Thank you, but haven't had much of an opportunity to follow up too much. But did see some things about CJ that look really cool. I know one thing that I like is that you can, like for example, if you accidentally send PII in CJA, you can remove it easily, whereas in analytics, you've got to engage in engineering, which of course will cost you a boatload of money to try to get that done.
Yep.
True statement. Too fun.
Yeah. Oh, and something else they talked about CJA was the derived fields. So I think they've been talking about that for a couple years.
Yeah, I think I remember that was like kind of a sneak even a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. So anyone that's ever used Data Workbench, so I actually got certified as an architect in Data Workbench, but I've never used it.
Look at that.
But I never used it. But now it's in the life. But anyways, one of the big things I liked about it was the derived fields, derived dimensions. That way you can fix the data and have it however you want it without having to go through the dev cycle and everything like that. Even like, let's say you had two different levels of H parameters. So you have main section and subsection. If you have them in two different dimensions, using derived fields, you can put them in a combined dimension. So
you could do that in SQL too, Luke.
Oh my goodness.
SQL's easy to learn too. You just got to get in and play around with it. So.
Oh, now you have Josh in your corner. Look at this. They're ganging up on you.
Okay. That's my goal, is to learn SQL for Adobe.
And it only takes half the time of data warehouse too. So.
Too funny.
I think with CJA too, you can do a lot of the processing at reporting time instead of ingestion. So for example, I think if you want to look at different market channel rules or philosophies or something, you're not tied into what was in place at the time, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yep, I wrote one of my longest case statements earlier today because I was doing my own marketing channels. But this was for Google, not for Adobe.
The other.
Yeah.
Buddy.
The analytics program that shall not be named. So Zeke was there. Josh, were you there in Vegas?
No, unfortunately. Not
So, so Luke, some of these questions are probably yours. What was your best meal in Vegas then?
So my best meal there was actually the first night. So Vegas, if you go off the strip, there's a lot of great Asian restaurants. So we found this Japanese restaurant, really good. It's almost like their equivalent of a bar food, very similar. So small dishes were tapas. So I met one of my old colleagues there, and she's with a consultant firm, and so we all went there, and it was a good time. So that was probably my best meal there.
Oh, that's awesome. And look at you. You saw old friends in real life. Bullet
I
too.
know. I know. So yeah.
Well, and then I feel like I've seen like a lot of people like, okay, it's not in real life, but oh, who's the company that I can't ever say it right that Frederick just went to work for?
Acoustics.
Yeah, I love what they're doing on LinkedIn. How they have all those snippets of people giving like, a little tidbit or a little spiel. I feel like I was there seeing all those people. So
Yeah, that's been fun. All the LinkedIn content has been fun, and some of the Twitter content too, since that's as close as I got as well.
yeah. Wait, did you bet anything? Even in the airport,
No.
man, you can as soon as you get off the airplane, I think at Vegas you can start losing money. I mean, gambling.
No.
I mean,
Actually, I've been to Vegas before. Well, not for the summit, but just on a side trip where all we did was hiking. So
oh,
outside of Vegas, it's like some great places to go hike. So
too fun.
I
Oh,
know
that's
you
awesome.
can see some of the red rocks and stuff. So lots of good food there. They have some good ramen restaurants there. So
I love it. Oh, too fun. Yay. I was gonna say, Zeke, you are like are all the other tools like just I feel like Adobe Analytics kind of feeds them, but you're the chance to take the AEM authors exam. Holy cow!
And he passed it.
Nice, Zeke.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Very first AM in-person conference that I went to. That said, it was just a lot of fun to finally go, and I took the advice of other people who've gone in the past. Go do the labs that are in person. I don't think they. I don't know if anyone's checked. I don't think they thanks everyone. I don't think they put the packets of information up. So then when I got
you had gold. You could like sell them on like the analytics black market.
yeah, right. I don't know if they have one. But and quite honestly, I did not take a analytics lab. I took ones that were more going to be with the new AEM, obviously generative AI stuff. Not that we knew was generative AI because we were supposed to sign an NDA, but I think I can say that. No, I mean, what can I say? Was that they're we know about the generative AI now. It was actually a lot of fun to go to a roundtable discussion on Monday, talk to other people in my industry. I'm in finance, and hear what they had to say, know how we're doing compared to other companies, and then when we started talking to the Adobe representative about things like generative AI and will that be integrated into the document asset management system, they sort of deflected. They're like, well, you'll have to watch tomorrow and see, because it was like right before, and they knew, and we've had an idea that some company was going to come out with this. I was actually surprised that not more vendors were trying to show off their big AI product. We were looking at search on front end search products as well, and we were looking for SEO providers, or just wanted to see what's the latest stuff out there. However, it does seem really cool what's happening with Adobe, and then finally got access to Firefly right after.
Oh wow, that's good.
And I made a version of our company's logo using Firefly. We had that.
Fun.
That was fun. I got to show that to our company, and I hope you all have a chance to play with it too, and hopefully those other things that come out will be there. But I think it was really good, especially because I'm on a content team.
Yeah.
We work very closely with our analytics team. They do a great job keeping us informed. Was that there was a lot about ethics of AI, which is something that we were really looking for, right? We're all probably, if we're on the call here, we're all using Adobe. We probably all work for big companies that pay big Adobe money, and that means that they want a product similar to how we trust the AI capabilities of Photoshop, right? To color in the background for us. We want that same features with our Adobe DAM. If we were to have generative text, we would want to make sure that anything we enter into it, make sure that no one ever suspects that that's happening. So that any leak of privacy, any leak of data could occur. And as marketers, we have information we don't want everyone else to know about. So that was fun too. And then there was a fun way to solve a technical issue that I saw as well, and had to do with image renditions on our website. And it was a bug that had popped up about 3 weeks before the conference. And so I saw it, and luckily I looked across the room, and one of our developers was there too. I said, hey, now this is how we're going to prevent a certain error from occurring. I don't want to get into it too much, but but it was cool to see the next generation of that, and also a possibility that if you feel like Adobe's native navigation tools and Adobe Sites is too slow, they have this project called Franklin. I don't recall signing an NDA for that, but by the way, they just call it Project Franklin. You can talk to your Adobe rep about it, and it's the idea. One of the features of it is that you could use Google Docs storage system or SharePoint as your DAM and as your sites. It would translate Word and Excel into web pages.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that was pretty remarkable, and then a bunch of other features too, claiming you'd have a page speed of 100, and so that was pretty cool to see that. So good, good all around, and those weren't sneaks either.
That's always nice when you're like, no, this is for real.
Yeah, exactly, it's for real. By the way, I bumped into the girl who did the woman who did the one sneak about the clothing and what colors you are.
Yeah.
I bumped into her at the at the bash afterwards, and I told her I thought you were going to do something where after you took the picture of the comedian and you showed off the models that had her colors, that you would also use AI to change the face of the colors to put the comedian's face on, sort of like a deep fake situation.
Yes.
She was very blown away by that suggestion. And so that was pretty cool to be able to talk to those people, tell her what I thought was my favorite. And I told her this in front of her colleagues who had also presented there, and they were totally okay with that. Product True Colors, and so.
Well,
yeah. So
we'll be able to say we knew Josh or Zeke when he came up with this brilliant idea.
Well, I mean, I think we can see a lot of things that are happening. But again, we're it was very interesting to see so much occurring. I think March of this year especially felt like there's so many technological changes coming, and pretty cool to watch YouTube videos talking about AI and saying, oh, by the way, Adobe did this. I'm like, yeah, we were there. We got to see that as well. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Well,
yeah, I'm glad to share my story. Here, actually, go.
that's so awesome.
Well, unlock my video. Sorry, the work computer's a little laggy at the moment, so.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, no worries.
Well, that's cool that your first one was so fun, and that you got to go with a coworker, because like that you connected like in that meeting, like, hey, let's do this. Like that's what's. I mean, I do miss that. Like you get so energized. Granted, you come home and you're really tired because you just spent so much energy there, but you are. I feel just like jazzed, like reinvigorated to try it out. So.
Yeah, and also a good way to connect in real life with our Adobe representative as well. So thanks for this shout out here with the London presentation, so we can pay attention to that.
Yeah. So there'll be virtual components. There'll probably be a lot of duplicate content, but there'll be some new ones or some too. And it's free to sign up. So you might as well and watch at your leisure or, get lucky and go there.
Do they have sneaks there?
I would assume it would be the same sneaks.
It's not too sneaky now.
I guess we'll have to sign up and find out.
Okay.
True.
I mean,
you'll have different use cases, that's for sure. Like those, because there was one that it was called healthcare experiences with approaches to first-party data, and it was all a company talking about how they implemented Web SDK, and they gave a lot of great examples. So I'm gonna definitely sign up here and listen to some other people's examples of what they've gone through. So yeah, awesome.
I really like the error message that you have. I typed in URL slightly incorrectly. I capitalized.
What was the error message?
Here, I'll okay. So this is the correct version, and this is what I wrote, which almost maybe they should have this as a you can have it as a vanity or a redirect. But I typed it in all caps at the end there. And what you get to see is a really nice little Easter egg there of an old Apple computer telling you to.
That's hilarious. I just pulled it up. I love it.
I was working. One of our clients where I work has a really cute 404 page, and I was like, "Oh, that you're tracking on it." And I'm like, it's so cute. It's like a little train going through a tunnel and stuff, like going in a big circle.
Oh, too fun.
Here.
Yeah.
Thank you all for sharing this. This was a lot of fun.
You made it fun.
Recaps. Well, I'm coming from a perspective where there were about 8 people from my company, City National Bank, that went to the, and we have to. When we got back, we had a homework assignment of preparing some slides for the rest of the marketing department about what we learned. And
a little hint is that a lot of the recorded sessions, if they you can download their PowerPoints if you go online, and that would help you with your slides.
that was version 1. Then someone's boss's boss came back with version 2, said, "We would like you to do it in this format, this format, and this format." Okay, all right. Well, all right, but don't be upset at that other project you want me to get done. It might be delayed a day or 2, but
exactly.
yeah.
Goodness. 2, 5.
All right.
Former manager always told me priority versus importance. Everyone's project importance, but which one takes priority?
Yeah, it ensured though that I did, when I got back, watch those summits and summit sessions. And I, as I was hearing, Gretchen saying, you have more to watch as well. And so, and just when you think you're done, you'll probably have these London ones to watch then as well.
I know.
The sequel. I like it. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and you can go back and watch last year's stuff too. All that content is still out there. So there's a lot of good stuff. And then we just wanted to offer this opportunity out, if anyone is interested in applying for the Adobe Champion Program. It's coming soon. It's not available yet. We don't have an exact date, but just potentially sometime next after that. Just watch, for Adobe. We'll have some announcements around that.
And Zeke, there's one for AEM. So I think this was their first year to have an AEM champion program. So you definitely should, since you're all certified, you definitely are a champ. So you should definitely apply and keep an eye out for that.
I recall filling out a form for it. Was that right, Luke?
They have AEM user groups also.
Yeah. Not that we're very happy you're here at the
know.
analytics one, but they do.
Well, I'm happy when I get to hear that there's going to be heat maps coming. That's a cool thing.
Yes.
Because that's where we overlap. Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks for reminding me about that. And is it coming in May or June? The applications.
I'll have to check for the. I know the Adobe Analytics one. I think is originally. I think they said May, but it may get bumped to June. But I'm not sure if the AEM one is at the same cadence or if their applications are at a different. I'll look it up and then we can email you and let you know. And I'll reach out to the guy in charge and see if he can reach directly out to you at Adobe too.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they have a lot of fun, and I'm pretty sure this was their first year of having an AEM champion program. And Shane, I think Target AEM, a Target champion group is on their roadmap. I don't know exactly when. And then, I think
I think they have user groups for them, don't they?
For Target.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have like it wasn't like as planned as this. It was just like we would get on and it was very organic. It didn't seem to be as planned as well as what you guys are doing here with topics. But I haven't done that in a couple of years, really. I mean, it's been probably like longer than that. So I'll have to ask my rep.
I think overall they're really trying to expand these user groups to be, customer led.
Yeah, and Shane, you could start one if there isn't one.
Oh, too funny. Now he's gonna be like, I have to go. Sorry, bye.
Yeah, I do have. I have 3 minutes left.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Okay, so
I don't. It's not coming up in Google, but I might have to refine my search there.
Yep.
So.
So there is an AEM champion program.
So.
Oh, you got it.
Can't if you put it on Google, then everyone can apply. So.
I mean, you can apply. Doesn't mean you get. They do a little interview. And
cool.
I tell you what, it's one of the best things you'll do.
A lot of fun. That's a true statement.
It is a lot of fun. And you meet so cool people.
Yeah. See, I met Sarah and Gretchen through it. So
it's been great.
Cool. I know.
Well,
Sarah's a 3-time champ.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I see it. So yeah, I will pull that out as well. Put that in the chat for everyone who might be interested in that. As well. So, and hopefully I didn't already fill this out. Because this is the initial application. Yeah. Okay. Well, I will check my email, see if I already filled it out. But thank you for hosting this.
This is fun. So we're glad everyone can join. And let's see, is April look for us in June again? So
yay!
Thank you.
You guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. I'll stop the recording.